Right, so let's now take a look at how well Power BI can create interactive reports really quickly. And so part of this, I'm going to show you a report I've part created, and I'm just going to finish it off with some obvious aspects that are missing. And then I just want to show you how you do the same kind of thing in Excel and why I think it's a bit restricted. Obviously, these are my personal opinions. You may have a different view on it, but I personally think that Power BI is much easier to create visualizations, and it's also more flexible. You can do more with it than you can in Excel. So let's get started. Just as a refresher, I'm using the same Olympic spreadsheet as before. So what I've done is I've got an open source data set, and I've got a list of all the athletes that have taken part in the Olympics since 1900. Let's get to the report I've created for you. So what I've done here is I've created a report. It's a well, I would like to call it a dashboard, but effectively inside of Power BI terms, it's a report. And what I've got here is the average age by sport. So this is going to show that something called rock had the oldest people on average taking part in it. Now, if I want to go and look at the average weight by sport, as you would expect, tug of war is the event that's got the heaviest people in, and that's obviously very apparent because the heavier you are, the harder it is to pull you, etc. But what would be really nice on here is to also show the average height. Now, if you remember, we've got height here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create let's go for a stacked column chart. I'm going to drag that on, and I'm just going to position that there. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to put sport on the one axis, and then I'd like to put height on the other. And then that height actually by default will just be summing it. So obviously you can see the the average height is about 6 meters. So what we need to do is the total height, it summed it. So what I'm going to do is pick average. So as you can see there, from basketball is the highest, and then the 10th is swimming. But what I'd like to do is create another of these data tables. Now there's two ways of doing this. Well, there's probably multiple ways, but there's two ways that are very easy. One is I can copy this and change the chart type, or I can just drop another one on. So what I'll do is I'll unselect that, and I'll pop that on there, and I will do exactly the same. I'm going to pick sport, and I'm going to pick height, and I'm going to go to the height again, and I'm going to go to average. And there you can see that that's alphabetically sorted now. So all I've got to do now is order that, and you can see basketball is top, and then the lowest is gymnastics. So from the time the gymnastics has been, from the time the Olympics have been going since 1900, the shortest people to take part on average are the gymnasts, which is cool. So the other thing I've done here is I've added two filters. Sorry, they're called slicers, but you might know them in Excel as filters. So what I've done is I've created a filter for medal and a filter for sex. So what's really nice, I've had to do nothing else at all. In fact, you've just seen me drop this on. If I click on bronze now, everything's changed. So now I know that the still basketball is the top for the people that have got bronze medalists. Bobsleigh actually has changed. So for those that got bronze medalists, the average weight is 90 kilograms, and that's the highest of all the events, which is quite surprising. And you can do the same. You can have multiple filters. So let's have a look by male. So that's now multiple filters. So this is all the males that got bronze, and you can see all these values changing, which is really cool. Right, so the next thing you may want to do inside of this chart is you might want to go, well, actually, I'd like to be able to look at polo more in depth. So what I've done is I've created another report here just by clicking the plus there. I've dropped some visualizations on it. And by default, what it's done is this is a card. So this is a card visualization I've put on, which just shows the sport. And you can see this is for an individual sport. But what would be really nice, actually, is to be able to drill into this from this report. So if you go here and then right click, there's no way actually of drilling into that report. Now, the way you do that is really simple. So you go here and you see this area here is really easy to miss, by the way. If you go here, add drill through fields here. So now what I can do is I can put sport in. Whoops-a-daisy. I can drag sport into there. And then that's now told Power BI that this report is actually something that's, I'm just going to delete that, is something that can be drilled through to. So now if we go to here, what I can do, let's pick something we've got a lot of data for. Let's have a look at sport. So now you've got this drill through. And if you look, I call it sport detail there. So let's drill through to sport detail for polo. And you can see already, so that's now drilled in. So the average age for polo only over the years from the 1900s, and the average height, the average weight. So polo isn't one of these sports that's been going on for ages. So let's go back. So I need to press Control and back. Sorry, I'm on a Mac. And let's go back. Let's find something like athletics is more interesting. So what I'll do is I'll sort this by athletics. Right, let's drill to that. So another good point here, anywhere we're using the sport field, so all of these here, is now able to drill through to that new reporting table. In we go, athletics. So this is really good. So athletics is pretty much every single year. In fact, I can't imagine Olympics where it hasn't been there. You can see that males have taken up 69.8% of the competitors. We also can see the most successful in athletics. Count of medals. And the average age by year is very interesting. So people are getting older that are taking part, which is really interesting. So people are getting shorter, older, and lighter. So maybe that's something we need to be looking at the Olympics going forward. So that's a good example. This will also maintain all the filters that you place on the other one, but that's also something you could control. So that's Power BI. That's a whistle-stop tour of how easily it is to create it. Now, literally, this took me 3 minutes to create. Just drag, 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 drop, drop, drop. Add the slices, add that. It didn't take long at all. Excel, what you need to do in Excel, we've got this data sheet here. You have to go here and you have to create pivot tables for every type of chart you want to create. So what I've done here is I've created the same pivot table. One of the striking things over Power BI immediately is that, in fact I've got another version here, is that in order to get this working properly, so you could filter it down by bronze, gold, silver, it works really nice, but you've got to create these slices and put them on the page. I can't then go and click on any of these here, so this chart's not clickable, that data row is not filterable there. I mean, you possibly could do this with some VBA, which probably wouldn't work in the online version, but it's not out of the box. It's not possible at all. So I can't go and filter this and say, right, I want to be able to filter the average age by basketball. You'd have to have filters at the top here. So I could probably go here and select all and pick baseball. Okay, but that only affects this side of it. These filters, to connect them up, you have to go the extra mile. You have to do report connections and set them all up that way. There's no way actually of clicking on baseball there and going into the another spreadsheet, or sorry, a worksheet that's all about baseball like I can in Power BI. So I believe that the filtering and slicing capabilities, although you can get similar effects in Excel, it just isn't as good out of the box. And it also isn't as fast either. So as soon as you get to large data sets, it will start to slow down. So for that reason, I think Power BI is better because you can get more interaction by default up front. And then also we need to think about when we actually take the spreadsheet and put it online, we need to think about where we can share it to, which I'm going to cover in another video as well. So I do believe all in all that Power BI, just for the interactivity of the reports, is a better choice. Anyway, hope that helps.